All right, man. Detroit Lions beat the Kansas City Chiefs, dog. I ain't gonna lie, I thought when Marvin Jones fumbled that ball, it was over, dog. So they was resilient. They said it was Josh Reynolds on the call. I think it was on NBC last night. So they said it was Josh Reynolds on the call, and they was like, "It was Josh Reynolds' first, fumble of his career, or whatever." So I was under the impression it was Josh Reynolds had fumbled, but then I looked and it was one of the Lions publications online was like, "Well, Marvin Jones fumbled." I was like, "Oh, it was Marvin that fumbled." So I mean, he the oldest receiver in the National Football League, and that was his first fumble of his career. I'm pretty sure he should have had a 99 fumble rating on Madden, but we know Madden ain't the brightest light bulb in the pack um, at all. But man, that game came down to the offensive line, Goff and C.J. Gardner Johnson. That's pretty much what it came down to. Um, that's exactly what it came down to. Goff, C.J. Gardner Johnson, the offensive line played well. Goff was out there throwing poisonous darts. Um, yeah, he was out there standing on business. Yeah. He was out there standing on business yesterday, bro, and he was out there standing on business. He played phenomenal. Everything was on point. Everything was crisp. Everything was accurate. For somebody who didn't play preseason, I mean, he was in a real good rhythm, and him and Ben Johnson, um, they in a real good place right now. They in a phenomenal place right now with their rhythm and the offensive line. They finally a healthy unit. They in their rhythm. They in their bag. Um, him and St. Brown connection looked real strong. I mean, he had a good game to Josh Reynolds today. And then CJ Gardner Johnson, what else can you say, man? His support in the run game. He dropped the pick late that would have iced it. They had some opportunities to get some more turnovers, in the ball game. Um, but a couple of things that just stood out to me. That really stood out to me was that Jawan Taylor, who is they left tackle dude, he was cheating the whole game, bro. Like they held Aiden Hutchinson, like especially early in that game, they held Aiden Hutchinson every time. Or Jawan Johnson, I think his name, left tackle out of Tennessee. Excuse me. He was jumping off sides every time. Every time he was jumping off sides. Every time he was jumping off sides. He was jumping early and they was holding early and often. And that's what I was trying to point out to people in the Cincinnati game last year, in which, in the AFC Championship game, it was like 3 or 4 holding calls on that play Patrick Mahomes got hit late on. That's what I was trying to explain to people. It was like 3 or 4 holding calls on that play. And they was holding the whole game, bro. They were cheating for Kansas City the whole game. When you got the juice or you the top dog, they give you a lot of leeway. And then they start calling the false start here and there. Then they start calling the hold here and there. But that man, Jawan Johnson, was false starting the whole game. He was holding the whole game. He wasn't doing no great job on Aiden Hutchinson. He was literally holding and cheating. He literally was holding and cheating the whole game. He couldn't guard Aiden Hutchinson, bro, and they allowed him to get away with it. But, um, so be it. But Goff was throwing poisonous darts out there tonight, man, and I don't mind coming in here saying I was wrong. I didn't think they had a chance, even with I thought it would be close, closer than my prediction when I thought out Kelsey wasn't gonna play. But Chris Jones was huge not playing, but Patrick Mahomes played well enough for them to have an opportunity to win. Obviously, Cardavious Tony not ready. Obviously, Scott Moore not ready. We all know Marquez Valdez Scantley. He's a good 3 or 4 receiver, in this league. Um, Klaus Edwards Hilaire got some. You know, he got to start, if my memory serves me correctly. Um, so I don't know what happened. So I don't know exactly what happened, but Pacheco got some touches or whatever. But um, I thought they would be more creative, and maybe it was just the Lions defense not giving what they was looking for, or maybe it was missing Eric Bieniemy, and he might matter more than people like LaShawn McCoy and people on the outside looking in give him credit for. But what we can say is that they didn't find a creative way to get the ball to Klaus Edwards-Helaire, Jared McKinnon, or Diego Pacheco in the passing game. They did not find a way to get them involved in a short passing game. So a lot of the receivers they had, Patrick Mahomes seemed to be doing better to the bigger receiver, Justin Watson, and he seemed to be doing better than him. But the Lions secondary gonna need some time to gel. A lot of new pieces in there: Burns, Gardner Johnson. You gonna rotate Tracy in there, Kirby Joseph, Cam Sutton. Then you gonna Drake Jacobs out there. Then you gonna try to find a way to get Emmanuel Mosley on the field. So there's going to be a rotation. You know, there's going to be a rotation of there's going to be a rotation of in that secondary, because you're gonna spell some guys in and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, bro, there's gonna be a gelling period for those guys. So be prepared for that. It's gonna be a gelling period. But yeah, I was proud of them last night. That's a game that we lose, even with the injuries, which the fumble kind of threw them off. And I think they was a little bit lethargic, like I predicted. They were a little bit lethargic, like I predicted, because they didn't play preseason. And Goff said that in the pregame thing they do, like when they meet with him, he said he expected to be rusty the first couple drives or something like that. You know, the punt was ballsy inside Joe on 20-25. That was a ballsy move, but when you go out on the road, you got to be ballsy. And Kansas City should have been prepared for that, because Dan Campbell known when they go on big road games, he known, to pull out all the stops and all the tricks out his bag. He did it in Minnesota. He did it in Minnesota last year. Don't forget that. In Minnesota, the first game. So I mean, no, David Montgomery ran physical. People say, oh, he a little bit too slow or whatever, but I thought he ran pretty good last night, man. He ran physical. He ran hard. He got a nice little burst to him. But obviously they had David Montgomery on the pitch count. If you didn't pay attention, they had David Montgomery on the pitch count. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs on the pitch count. So I don't think that was hard for anybody to see. They had Jahmyr Gibbs on the pitch count. So, I'm gonna talk about Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery later on today, but they had him on the pitch count. So once you look at that, and they had him on the pitch count, then you know what it was. They're not trying to overuse him and over abuse him, and that's understandable. Especially when you got PST to whatever with DeAndre Swift constantly getting injured and stuff. So yeah, but Gibbs looked good. He looked good running between the tackles. He looked good running off tackles. He looked good catching the football. He would have had that touchdown had he not slipped. He would have had that touchdown had he not slipped. So but he did. But Laporta looked good. He made some plays. Brock Wright made some plays. A lot of these guys went out there and made some great plays offensively, and Goff was just such in a good rhythm early on. That back foot was hitting, that ball was coming out. They left some guys unblocked a couple times, so that's something that probably got to get cleaned up. But for the most part, when them nickelbacks came off the edge unblocked, he got that ball up out of there. So that's what you're supposed to do or whatever. But Goff and Gardner Johnson was the MVPs, and then you had Brian Burns with the huge pick six that killed the momentum for Kansas City. And the one thing about Burns, he do that on Madden too, dude. Brian Burns a beast on Madden, dog. Yeah. My Charleston White voice. He a beast on Madden. Brian Burns, dude. I love putting him in a strong safety position. He a beast. Made some big tackles yesterday. He played well. I know people was asking where Jack Campbell was at. He ain't earned the right to start. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got out there a couple of times. But but um but yeah, defensively they look good. Anazorki got in there and made some things happen. It seemed like he still may be a step or two slow. And I just think him getting back into rhythm, will be interesting. James Houston got in there and did some things. I think Aiden Hutchinson had 6 pressures today, and probably would have had 6 sacks if they would have called false starts, or started calling false starts, would have called holds. So let's not forget that. Probably would have had 6, 7, 8, 9 sacks in one game, bro. And I ain't joking either. So defensively they did their thing too, bro. Mahomes was just on third down in the first half. Mahomes was just tough to deal with because of the scrambling ability, and that scrambling is continue to get the Lions trouble though. The scrambling quarterbacks, but they fixed it. Aaron Glenn started mixing it up on third downs. He started blitzing a little bit more, and then I believe Kansas City went 0 for 7 in the second half on third down. If my memory serves me correctly, they went 0 for 7. So, yeah, I believe they went 0 for 7. It was some wild stuff like that. Let's see. So they went 5 for 14. Yeah, they probably went 0 for 7 in the second half. Then one of the most disrespectful things that happened was the 4th and 25. Instead of them punting it with 3 timeouts, they went for it because it's the SOL. At least that's what they thought. So they still didn't have no respect for the Detroit Lions. Going for it like that on third down, they still didn't have no respect for on 4th down and 25. They still didn't respect them, and they took that personally. So I was wrong. I even thought I'm not gonna lie, I thought they was gonna lose still with Chris Jones and Travis Kelce being out here. I could come out here and make excuses, say, well, Chris Jones and Travis Kelce didn't play. The old line still would have found a way to lose that game. They still would have found a way to lose the game. So we could say we want to say till we blue in the face. Historically, that's a game they find to lose. They find a way to lose. Yep. Historically, that's a game that they find a way to lose. It really is. So, great that they found a way to win the game. I mean, Goff is the MVP of the game.
See what I bought on Temu.
My bad. Goff is the MVP. Gardner Johnson will be the defensive MVP. He made difference. He made a lot of tackles, in the run game. Yeah, he made a bunch of tackles in the run game, and you know, so but they played well. They played real well. Vegas covered because it was a 1-point spread, and it's a great way to carry the momentum into week 2, and that's a big game because Seattle came to Ford Field and put it on them last year, and it's a time for redemption. Now, what people got to remember too, in all, is that Seattle, give you a little preview, there was a bunch of injuries on the line. It was a bunch of injuries for the Lions. Let's not forget that. There was a tremendous amount of injuries on that Lions team going into that game. So that's something that people tend to forget, and they had a tremendous amount of injuries heading into the season last year. And people talk about, on the telecast, they continue to talk about how bad the Lions were defensively, last year. But what people don't talk about is the injuries they had coming into last season. There was a lot of them. Both their second round picks was down for the count. Pascal and Anazorki, and they needed that pressure from them on the inside. So both of them was down for the count. So nobody really talk about that. And they suffered. And once you come in the season with a lot of injuries, guess what? They become contagious. So just a little preview. So the Seattle game is gonna be jumping. Fans gonna be there next Sunday, and it's gonna be jumping. So thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live or drop a video. Financially, you want to support the channel, Cash App, $ CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal link in the description. Hit the link tree. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole nine. Check out Detroit Lions top players from videos like this. Check out Detroit Lions. Check out Detroit Lions. Post game reaction for more videos like this as well too. Appreciate y'all. Don't forget, check out my main channel right here on YouTube, Goodfella TV, for more sports, music, news, and entertainment around the world. So I appreciate if y'all give me a sub over there. One time for the one time, Goodfella TV. Peace. Or Mercy Sports Talk.